What's going on YouTube? I've got an awesome build lined up for this week. It's not a knife, but a great friend of mine is getting married and he and his fiance asked me to make a wedding ring box for the ceremony. So I'm going to be taking you guys along for this build and let's get to it. I've got this block of mystery wood, which I don't know exactly what the grain's going to look like. I don't actually even know exactly what type of wood it is. So hopefully once I cut into this and expose some of the grain, I can get a good sense of what this will look like. But I think this might be a great option. I think this might look really cool. It looks like it's got some different characteristics in the grain here that might be really cool for a ring box. Alright, I cut into this one and I think I'm going to make this one all the way through first because I think this wood actually looks really nice. I love this grain, this knot up here. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do, because I need to put 2 wedding rings in here, not just one, I'm going to do 2 1.5 inch circles that with a Forstner bit offset so that then I can do 2 rings this way side by side. They'll each have their own little leather cushions that they're going to wedge in between. So, and it looks like that'll fit with this. This is a little bit less than 2 inches by 3 inches. So I think we're off to a good start with this one. Alright, so I got this block planed and I cleaned it up with a 120 grit belt on the belt grinder, and man, this stuff is pretty. Look at the grain on this thing. Alright, so what you just saw me do, I was just loosening up this leather. This is actually what is going to make the ring bed. So what I'll end up doing with each of these is super gluing these down and then affixing this into the bottom of the ring box with epoxy. And then it kind of squishes together just like this. And then your wedding ring can wedge in between there and it'll sit like this inside the box. This is Starbond medium. They have all kinds of different sizes, thick, thin, extra thin I think, and then maybe one other one. This stuff works awesome. I use it all the time in woodworking. I use it to fill knots. With the accelerator, this stuff is some of the best super glue I've ever used. Usually what you have to do with the leather though with this is you'll put one coat on and it sort of just soaks into the leather. And then when you do a second coat after a few seconds, once it's dried, that second one will actually do what you want and act like glue. If you're ever going to actually make one of these ring boxes like this, I would 100% recommend playing around with different lengths of leather and different types of leather. This was actually one of the hardest parts of this whole build. I built a test box and then did probably 15 different variations of different types of leather, thicknesses of leather. I tried tooling leather, some different softer fabric leathers, and this is ultimately what I settled on. Alright, so I'm not sure if this is going to look cool or if this is going to look a little corny. I think it's kind of cool because it sort of gives it a personalized touch. I was thinking about engraving some of this and then filling it with a colored epoxy, but at the end of the day, I don't think me engraving something by hand was going to look quite as nice as what I have in mind with these. Basically, I'm going to take each of their first initial and put it inside the box and then pour clear epoxy over it so it'll essentially cast this glittery sticker inside resin. so what I'm going to do today, I'm going to get these ring holders epoxied in here so that those are nice and set, just to give you a sense of what that'll look like. Stick your ring in there, and then this will be on hinges here. You get your nice magnetic close, opens up like that. Oh yeah. It's gonna be slick. All right, next up, I'm gonna be putting in a 45-degree chamfer on all of the edges on the box. Similar to what I did on this test box, you can see I've got chamfers all around here, top, bottom, and sides. So I wanna do that before I put the hinges on the backside because they're gonna get in the way when I'm running the router. All right, so I've got everything sanded up to 400 grit, all of the sides, the top, the chamfers, and even the insides. So we're gonna get our first coat of tung oil on here, and the grain reveal on this I think is gonna be sweet. At the end of the day, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I really like all the chamfers. I love how these angles all meet up. I'm really happy with the finished product. I like the feel of the magnets. They've got a really strong clasp. I think if I were gonna do another one of these though, I ordered some 6mm disc magnets, and I think I would probably go with 2 disc magnets on the corners as opposed to 1 bar magnet in the center. This was a little bit tricky to hand carve out with a Dremel and then fill with colored epoxy. So I think if I'm going to make another one of these, I think I'll go with the disc magnets with just a 6mm drill bit and epoxy and press fit them into the holes. I really like the way that the leather looks with the wood and this epoxy finish up here with the colored background behind the glittery letters. I think Amber will like that. Kind of seems like her style, but who knows? I could be completely wrong about that. Hopefully I'm not. But at the end of the day, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It was a lot of fun to make, and I really feel honored that I'm contributing to their wedding day in some way. All right, that wraps up the build of this little ring box. This project definitely pushed me outside of my comfort zone, and I had to dust off quite a few different tools in the shop that I haven't used in a long time. But I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm super excited to see it used in my friend's wedding ceremony. Justin and Amber, thank you so much for involving me in your wedding day like this. I hope that you guys both have a long and happy life together. I hope this little ring box serves as a memento for you to look back and remember your wedding day for years to come. I've got a very cool knife build lined up for my next video, so be looking out for that in a couple weeks. I'm going to be casting some custom scales for a chef's knife I'm making, and just you wait till you see what's going inside them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next build.